nuking relationships before you have any chance to build any warmth is bad for political efficacy. I also think making jokes about dead kids immediately is optically always going to be an L. I have said this over and over and over and over again. And if you guys can't handle that, that's fine. But that's what I'm talking about. No. And now to Soy Pill, my criticism of you.
Can I ask? I have 3 things, and now you're going to move on. We need to clarify this, okay?
Like, I don't need you to respond to my criticisms of Destiny. Why the fuck would you talk to my boyfriend? He can respond for himself.
Can I understand it, please?
Sure.
Okay. So,
wait, did you just refer to Destiny as your boyfriend? Wait, what? Was that misspeak?
Now to Soy Pill, my criticism of you.
Can I ask? I have 3 things, and now you're going to move on. We need to clarify this, okay? Like,
I don't need you to respond to my criticisms of Destiny. Why the fuck would you talk to my boyfriend? He can respond for himself.
Oh, why don't you talk to my boyfriend? Is that what she said? Okay, hopefully, because... Wait, what? Wait, your boyfriend? Did she say your boyfriend? I can't tell what she said there. Fuck.
So,
can I understand it, please?
Sure.
Okay. So you're saying that morals are downstream of policy, right? Or policy is downstream of morals, correct?
Effective policy can be downstream of principles.
Okay, it can be, right. But now it seems like you clearly don't have a hard line. I mean, well, you do. Dead kids are a hard line of meanness. You shouldn't go about dead kids. But in general, you don't have like some...
They're not a hard line, right? I already said that, like...
You just said don't do it!
Jesus fucking Christ. I actually feel like I'm talking to MAGA people right now. I said, when he said it quote tweeting people actively looking for the children within, like, I think 48 hours of the tragedy happening. The reality is it was more offensive.
If it was 20 years later.
I don't care about it being edgy. I care about the reality that the public reception to it, including even on his own base,
what edgy is. You can't dodge away from the word edgy. That's why it's edgy, because it is recent and it's offensive to people.
Black people, but I might not make it right after like a shooting on black people.
What if it's really funny, though? What if it's really funny?
It's more edgy, and if it's really funny and it hits well, then you will get away with this.
Oh my God!
Not post-hoc.
If I have to,
because things are going to be relativistic, it doesn't make it fucking post-hoc. Otherwise, your moral system couldn't fucking exist, you fucking retard. Obviously, things are going to be socially informed. If every single person, including on Steven's own side, is like, yeah, I don't love that. If consistently...
Wait, don't say every single person on my side, because that's absolutely not true. There are lots of people on my side that also really like the super edgy, aggressive stuff.
A large percentage. If most Republicans that I talk to that like Stephen and think he's smart cite that as a really hard no-go. I agree that it's soy and beta and loserish behavior on their behalf. However, I am willing to basically look past that because I would like to pull them to my side more than I care about holding their feet to the fire for being mad over a joke, if I'm being completely blunt and honest.
Okay, stop.
Can I ask a good question, please?
No, you're going to get muted because otherwise no one will stop and no one will actually let me ask my question. Dev,
also, dead jokes are always edgy.
Dev, you have said nothing this whole time. Why the fuck are you here?
Well, you pulled me in. I don't know. I was talking. Tally had me talking to her privately. You just pulled me in.
Do you not want to be here? We can go.
Oh no, I can still be here. That's fine. That's no problem.
No,
I mean, I have been watching this and taking notes. I have a few comments.
Is what I'm telling you to do.
I have a few comments, but it's nothing related to what you guys have just said. It's a different thread of the conversation. But if you're okay with that,
go ahead.
So it seems like everyone here is talking about two different things, because what Soy Pill has done to Tally is a different type of thing than what Destiny has done on Twitter. Because with Tally, it's a single person. You have to approach a conversation with a single person very differently than putting out a public statement towards a larger audience. Which is why the edgy joke excuse works in one of these, it doesn't really work in the other one.
Who the fuck knows? Guy's pretty pissed off.
I'm not sure if leaning full into the optics conversation. I don't know if the optics stuff even hurts the Democrats, frankly, long term. It might.
Who the fuck is this motherfucker?
It is like you say, the right seems to suffer no real blowback when they do really edgy or even really disgusting stuff. So I don't really buy the argument that, oh, this is hurting us. This is hurting the Democrats. But at the same time, on an individual level, I think it absolutely hurts long term, if not short term, absolutely long term. I mean, I was friends with Sargon until 2024, from 2015 to 2024, and he was not the right winger that everyone said he was in 2015.
Wrong. Okay, Dev, I expect better of you. Okay, Sargon was absolutely a right-winger. I don't even know why you're saying this, okay? This is retarded, okay? And you know this is retarded. Come on, dude.
He became that guy, and he became that guy after leftists got him banned from Patreon. And it's like, well, you created the monster, basically. And I think that's something that you should probably reckon with.
The left's fault. Okay,
Yeah,
Kyla, so do we
Yes,
have
it
a
is.
funny calculation like before
Definitely
it happens of how well it will hit?
Wait, are you
And like,
not going to engage with Dev?
No, I just don't give a shit whether or not Sargon was forced into being a right winger, and he just summarized things that we've already said. But I have a genuine question that might move the conversation.
About his
Sargon has always been super.
The conversation's not about Sargon. It's not about Sargon. It's about if you treat people like Tally poorly, who they will be in 5 years.
They'll turn into like fucking Nazi rhetoric.
If you can stop that, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, a lot of times you
stop that simply by exercising some self-discipline and self-control and not being a retarded asshole to them. Why wouldn't you?
Oh shit, it's like the meme with the guys in the mine, and it's like the Democrats were just one nice comment away from finally hitting gold with Republican empathy. We're so close. We just need one more restraint.
One more restraint,
again,
guys.
we've said it from the beginning.
It's a simple concept. I'm sorry, but it's a simple concept. If you treat people well, they will respond positively.
True.
If you treat people poorly, they will run away from you, or in some cases, oppose you. When you treat people like shit, they're gonna fight you.
So like when Trump played games with FEMA funds in 2019 and in 2016, even 2017, after that one hurricane with North Carolina, nobody gave a fuck. Or when he threatened to do it with California, and then Biden came in and he didn't play games with FEMA funds, and then Trump came in and he played games with FEMA funds again. It's like there's definitely
even assuming? Why are we assuming that the bases of these two groups are going to be galvanized by the same thing? I don't know why would we assume that Republican bases will be galvanized.
Because we would probably assume that all humans are galvanized by about the same shit always. It's typically we're all kind of more or less the same.
Really? Between left and right? I don't know if we should just presume that.
What is the fundamentally different aspect of humanity between the left and the right?
Sure, I'll give it to you. Yeah, typically when we do personality tests, we can like almost perfectly predict the political predilection that they're going to be towards. Because typically, if you're conservative, you're going to have things like low openness to experience and high conscientious.
So first of all, you actually cannot perfectly predict it. The highest predictability is where your parents' political parties are. Number one, okay, you can make slight predictions, sure, but even so, somebody who has
now you're softening it too much.
I'm not softening it at all. Pretty sure the most predictable thing is the political party of your parents. I think the political heritability, I think, is the most important thing. But even that, I think, is like 60% or something. Regardless, though, the even if one person might score differently on their big five or whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't appeal to the people more or less the same way. You might do it like with a slightly different group, like an in-group versus an out-group. But I think more or less humans are all kind of the same in terms of like what makes us laugh and what's funny. And making fun of out-groups is a thing that most people enjoy doing.
Sure.
I don't know about that. I'm not going to agree with that.
Okay. Do you think that shame tends to make people move towards you or away from you?
It probably depends on the type of shame. I can probably do either one. It depends on what you're shaming. It depends on how you're doing the shaming.
Sure. Okay. Let's get into the nuance. What type of shaming is effective and when?
I imagine that it probably depends on who the shame comes from. So if it comes from like role models, or if it comes from people in your life you look up to, it's probably more effective. So if you've got a role model that's saying something like, oh, smoking is cool or smoking is bad, it's probably more likely to have an impact on you. Probably depends on the age that it hits you at. So shaming at an earlier age is probably something that would discourage somebody from a behavior more likely than shaming somebody at a later age. Probably depends on the other types of like coercive control that is around the shame. So if you're shamed in like a classroom environment where then a teacher and your social group can reinforce it, as opposed to like a TV commercial shaming you and then you can turn it off and it's a little bit more isolated. I don't know. Probably, my guess there's a ton of different ways that it can work or can't work. It depends on the thing.
Yeah. So one of the things that we know as well, that shame is very ineffective on things that are really hard to change or like deeply ingrained into us, such as, for example, I'm giving this a lot, being fat doesn't work to shame you. Unfortunately, shaming fat people, if it...
Yeah, but it's not about like, fuck me, dude. It's not just about like it getting... Okay. I think I understand now. I think I understand where the disconnect is, okay? I think I understand where the disconnect is. The disconnect here is that you want MAGA people to get to a level of respectability for you, okay? Of respectability, all right? But what you want MAGA to get, but what you actually get like from MAGA is tolerance, okay? If you are kind to MAGA people repeatedly, while they are doing crazy shit, you will get tolerance from them on an interpersonal level, okay? However, just because you have tolerance from them doesn't mean you have their respect, okay? Because in order to actually gain their respect, you have to do some crazy cool shit that they really have to agree with. But there is no point in trying to get MAGA from a negative position to a neutral position when you can actually get liberals from a neutral position to a winning position, right? Or a position that agrees with you. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, I guess what I'm saying is you waste time trying to get people from a bad position to a neutral position than it is to try to get existing liberals who already like vote blue from a neutral position to a positive position. It just makes no sense. I'm sorry, it just makes no sense. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, like it just makes no sense to be trying to like fight on this, I guess. But yeah, like fuck.
Did work, it would have worked. It doesn't make people
Liberals will get to a winning position when they start ignoring the nutty love. Yes, and be more edgy.
want to change their lifestyle enough to get skinny because it's very lifestyle based.
Yeah, but I don't think being fat is a good marker here for who you vote for or your political beliefs.
I agree. In fact, I think that being who you vote for is often way more deeply ingrained into your identity than being fat. And so if it's not even
just to be clear, that is absolutely not true. That's not even remotely close.
That's not true. That is not true. Okay, I promise you, ask anybody. What would you rather pick? A vote at the ballot box or a year of Ozempic? What do you think people would choose? What do you think people would choose? A free year worth of Ozempic or one vote at the ballot box? She's delusional. Everyone, including me, would pick 1 year of Ozempic, okay? It's really as clear as that.
Close to being true.
You don't think that being Republican isn't deeply ingrained into a lot of people's like strong political like identity?
Nope. I think that you could. I think it is compared to being fat. Do you think it would be easier to go from obese to ordinary BMI or to change from Republican to Democrat?
Hold on, I'm talking about how much it's closely tied to your identity, not how difficult it is for the behavior to change.
We're talking about how. What else would it?
Bro, whether or not you're fat is like literally every single person in this entire space. Like, I feel like literally everyone in this entire space cares about whether or not they're fat or not, okay? But nobody gives a flying fuck about like, oh, whether or not you change from Republican. They'll go like, neat, cool, what made you change, right? Versus like, holy shit, how the fuck did you lose 50 pounds?
What else would we be talking about? We're talking about the effectiveness of changing a behavior, and then we're saying, well, let's see what's more closely tied to a person's identity, or we just bring that up as an irrelevant reason. I thought we're bringing this up for like...
No, tied to an identity. I don't think being fat is nearly as closely tied to people's identity as being Republican, right?
Okay, maybe not, but I mean, like shaming somebody out of a political belief would probably be a lot easier than shaming them out of being fat.
Why?
Because I don't think shame is an effective way to change somebody to being fat, because there's a whole bunch of other systems that are working against a person to make them fat than systems that work with people's political beliefs.
What systems would be working against somebody from shifting from R to L?
It super depends on the environment that they're in. If they, for instance, if it's like
the average environment,
not like core biological functions that are being preyed upon by hyper sweetened and fattened foods.
Yeah,
like, it's not the same.
I think like you could have like friend groups maybe that are keeping you in a certain political thing, maybe. But I mean, like there are whole groups that can change slowly over time. We saw it with the tech bros and the whole liberal thing. You'll never see that with like being fat.
Yeah, people will often drift in the direction that as you said, their parents voted, right? So like the family group around them is going to be super important for predicting who they tend to vote for, right?
Yeah.
So if you're asking them to shift from right to left, you're asking them to not just unearth one behavior, which is a vote, but potentially to unearth all of their social connections as well.
Depends, but I mean, like, again, there are...
Bro, dude, I don't even know why we're discussing this question. Dude, if she won't... I'm sorry, but I think that she's being bad faith about this. I think that she knows for a fact that people feel way more insecure about being fat or not versus being Republican or not. Like, this is actually delusional. Like, I'm sorry, this is like actual delusion. Like, it just is. It's delusional. She's cuckoo. She's cuckoo crazy. Okay? 100% people would choose losing 50 pounds instantaneously over like a vote at the ballot box. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't get why we're talking about this.
Whole groups sometimes that shift, like all the tech bros kind of shifted in this weird MAGA direction, and that didn't require any of them to abandon their friend groups.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's really, really hard to shift your identity, which is why I'm saying I don't know if I'm convinced that shame is going to be super effective.
Okay, yet the Republicans weaponize and utilize shame, and they have for the past 12 years.
Those are winnable.
They have all of the levers of power right now. So I don't know what I'm supposed to make sense of that as. Are they doing this to their detriment and they could be even more effective?
So people are voting for Trump because he's shaming them now?
He seems to be shame. It's not about you. You seem to think that it's like there's 100 people going into the ballot box and we have to fight over those 100 people, but it's not. There's 330 million people and like 40% of them don't vote ever. And it's a matter of like, who can you get to go to the ballot box? Trump works on shaming and attacking other people. He'll shame his own party if he has to. If there are people in his party, he's doing it right now with the Epstein. Or he does it to Massey, or he does it to the Never Trumpers, and he gets them excised from the party. So yeah, it seems like Trump literally operates around like shame and fear, and it's been really effective for him.
So sorry, you think that shame has been the thing that's been effective for Trump and not something else?
I think there are multiple things at play, but shame and divisiveness and everything.
3?
Seems like it, yeah. I would guess it is, yeah.
Really?
Given that he seems to be the most shameful and divisive president in the past my lifetime, it's
he's
hard
like
to
rated
imagine
as like one of the least popular presidents.
Yeah, but least popular because of how divisive he is. Like, he might be the least popular overall because the left doesn't like him, but the right love him. It's like 90% popularity.
Yeah, Republicans seem to like him a lot, like the MAGA people. However, there's a massive schism happening right now where people are incredibly
you keep saying massive schism, and that is yet to be determined. We don't know if that'll even be the case.
That's the question.
Wild.
In a second, after they go,
I'm going to call it a massive schism when Trump himself is calling it a pretty major schism. You're right.
I don't consider truth or tweets massive schisms. When it comes to voting, we'll look for the massive schisms.
It's not just tweets. Come on, it's people burning MAGA hats. It's people calling for Pam Bondi to be fired.
Okay, has she been fired? Has anybody resigned? Bongino is no longer talking about being fired. He moved back. Now the conversation about whether or not we're firing Jerome Powell. So, and I don't think Bondi's going anywhere. And Bovey might leave because he's trying to be nominated to be a federal judge. So it seems like none of that is happening.
I think Candace Owens even came.
Why is she pretending like they don't flip flop like they do with the Epstein shit? Yeah, exactly. And it seems like they fall in line pretty soon enough. All right, I'm just saying when Trump tells other Republican commentators to suppress talking about Epstein, it seems to fucking work. Okay, you have Biden calling up like lefty commentators or other commentators, they probably won't even like take him seriously. Dude, it's not even close to the same level, and we all know it. Okay, like, dude, I don't even know why we're still like pretending that they're playing by the same game whatsoever. They break the rules on purpose. They break the rules on purpose because they like breaking the rules. Okay, they don't like not breaking the rules. They enjoy breaking the rules. It sucks.
Out saying that she might have regretted her vote for
Candace
Trump,
Owens is always a wild card. She's fucking insane. She's not like a reliable person on any side.
Increasingly, Joe Rogan is talking very negatively of Trump as well, right? He's very
dude, fuck me, dude. Yeah, but the thing is that you're not Joe Rogan and Candace Owens flip-flops on a fucking dime, right? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, they literally flip-flop on a dime. Like, I don't even know why we're talking about Candace Owens and Joe Rogan. They are vibe commentators, okay? Fuck, we need to stop treating them like serious political commentators, okay? Joe Rogan and Candace Owens are vibe commentators. So is Nick Fuentes. Okay? And to some degree, Richard Spencer as well, all right? Because they vote based on vibes, okay? They can vote for Joe Biden one day and then vote for Trump the next, all right? Why? Because they have some kind of esoteric idea in their heads on what it means to support a candidate or some shit, or like some kind of fucking esoteric, fucking support that they get for some reason, that's it. Like, shit. But yeah. She's giving MAGA more generous in terms of their intelligence standards than they deserve. 100%, yes.
Very upset about some of the deportations that have been happening, and
it's like saying a child with Down syndrome is somehow going to become the next Einstein because they managed to finally solve 1 + 1. Like,
very mad about the Epstein files.
Okay, and that's cool that he's finally moving that direction. But if one mean tweet or if one odd statement by Biden is enough to totally change somebody, and it's taken like 6 months of the most unhinged possible behavior from Donald Trump to finally get Joe Rogan to kind of start saying some mean things about him, maybe on his podcast. That shit. What a waste of fucking time. Turn out your own base.
So those people are completely worthless. They're not worth appealing to in any way, shape, and form. Just galvanize.
I didn't say they weren't.
You said it wasn't worth their
time.
time.
If your hypothesis is that bullying people is a bad thing, it seems weird that the most bully candidate in like all of our lives' history is the one who's had like the most political success in terms of at least like winning, votes and shit. That seems to be kind of weird to me. I don't understand. Maybe he just happens to be doing something else really good, and that's hurting it. And we can't see it.
Yeah, but we've had how many like historical, unprecedented events that led up to him winning back the election, because he didn't just win it consecutively, he lost it to Joe Biden, right? And then he won it again with, major historical events that we've never seen before. In fact, every single incumbent, I shouldn't say every single because you're going to get me on that one, most incumbents globally also lost their race, right?
Yeah.
So why are we assuming that it's because he's mean and divisive and that therefore it's effective for us to be divisive?
Because it doesn't seem to be hurting him at all. And it seems to be... where's the evidence? Where would I look to see the evidence of it hurting him?
He's the only president to ever lose an incumbency until Joe Biden. Well, I guess he didn't technically lose
he wasn't the only
well,
president.
he was still winning, actually.
What are we supposed to...
Jimmy Carter, one of the nicest presidents ever, actually lost his incumbency.
Yeah, what are we looking at for Trump to see if the bullying is not working? Well, like, what seems like it's not working? Like, how do we see this as evidence that it has been ineffective in the past?
Well, we can look at people running away from his policies almost across the board.
He doesn't bully the base, right?
Correct.
So he bullies like politicians and stuff like that.
God, whenever Wick speaks, I feel like I'm fucking losing brain cells. God, whenever Wick speaks, it's like I'm receiving permanent brain damage. Okay, like this is how Wick gets to us. Okay, like it's like every single time he's like, God, he's like a little fucking, he's just like a little fucking scrotum in the corner right there. Just look at him, fucking, just look at him.
Yeah, that is true, which is different from the type of vitriol that we see from the left, which is again just like punching at other vaguely liberal people who are not as pure.
Sure, everybody here, but everybody here. Well, I hope even Soy Pill thinks that that's fucking stupid. That's dumb.
like a rat.
Also, by the way, and this is part of that I get is like why you focus so much on the left, and it's because that's where I spend all of my time and have spent all of my time my entire life. So yes, the right is guilty of all of the same things that we're talking about.
That statement that you just said. Wait, can you explain this? I'm just curious, okay? Because that statement that you just said, nobody on the right would ever say that. That would ever say like, oh, the reason why I attack the right so much is because I'm on the right more. Nobody on the right would say that. Why are there so many people on the left like you that would say something like that? Like, oh, I attack the left all the time because that's where I spend all my time at. I'm not like attacking you. Sorry.
A dude in the Counterpoint server just called Wick a lowcow. He's 100% a lowcow, okay? People watch him. I don't know, dude, but people like watching him because they like watching him crash out, okay? I don't know, like, I don't know how we should be able to communicate this to, like, to Wick TV, but 100% Wick TV is, like, a fucking lowcow, okay? He just is, all right? Yeah.
I came off really aggressive, but I'm just curious, like, what is it that causes it to happen?
I don't...
Everyone laughs at him.
I have no idea. Well, I don't know. Who was it that was saying the other day?
I
think
it
was him, right? The loyalty, priority basically on the right. Is that what
I want to hear?
I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That was basically what I said in last week's conversation, which is the same conversation as this one. Is that and Erudite, I know you know this because I know that you know Hyde. The right tends to prioritize loyalty more as a value. The left tends to prioritize self-criticism more as a value. This is a personality difference, very broadly speaking, in the two sides, and that leads to basically right-wingers being more loyal even as things start to fuck up, while left-wingers they'll be more self-critical when things fuck up, and so that it leads to you have like more purity spiraling on.
This is I think that's a little bit of a generalization. Okay, I think. Dude, the problem with Dev is that he likes to do all of these generalizations, but I just don't think like this generalization, like fuck me, dude. I just don't think it's like typically I just don't think like this is like relevant to the topic at hand. Okay.
On the left, and you have more circling the wagons on the right. Basically, it's a difference in behavior of the two sides.
Here's something that I really want to understand because what I would point.
I've been holding it in for like 15 minutes.
Up to Wick.
Okay. Quick. Can I ask a quick question?
Ask your question. You've been holding it in. Release.
So this is about the whole idea of like these edgy jokes, especially when they don't land, are going to alienate a bunch of moderate voters, specifically people like the Joe Rogans or these like, average, like you said, these kind of dullard people that do have these huge audiences. My question to you is, if these people, if you watch these shows, if you watch Joe Rogan, if you watch the Nelk Boys, they're making edgy jokes constantly. They're mocking dead kids. They're making 9/11 jokes. They're making Holocaust jokes. And if anything, it endears them when people are able to cross like over that line and be like, hey, look at me. I'm authentic. I'm not a...
Yes, here's the reality of the situation, is that everyone likes making edgy jokes, okay? Literally everyone likes making edgy jokes. It does actually make you endearing. It just does, okay? Yes, it does actually endear you to the fucking viewer. It just does. So I don't even know why we're like pretending this is like not the case for some reason.
Scared to say this, which is something that people were saying was alienating about the left.
Also, yeah, the left isn't too self-critical. Dude, just look at the Hassan side, dude. Like it's not self-critical in the way that you're thinking it is. Like by self-critical, like do you mean like, oh, they look at themselves and actually provide constructive feedback and criticism? No, right? It's either you fall in line or you get the fuck out, right? MAGA and the far left is basically the same thing. You fall in line exactly in every single one of your viewpoints forever, or you get the fuck out. We don't want you here unless you fall in line with literally every single fucking viewpoint, okay? It isn't just that the left is more self-critical or the right is more self-critical or whatever the fuck, okay? The level of self-criticalness or criticalness increases the more you move towards the center. But the more you move away from the center, that is when you see a lot of cult-like behavior, where you'll go like, yeah, you know what? The more like someone begins, why the fuck are we being so retarded? And I thought this was obvious. Okay. Anyway, donate money, okay? If you guys want to support me. Thank you.
There to purity testing. So
I think
why
I'm
is it
spitting
that
facts
somehow
here, okay?
like any
think I'm
amount of
cooking.
there should be any line of edginess that is going to scare away these people who live and thrive in it? It just doesn't make any sense.
Because in general, even the edgiest
I can't stand it. He entertains too many grifting and dishonest. I mean, again, Dev is my friend, but like at the same time, it's like, dude, I just can't stand it whenever you talk about that. I'm gonna be honest, okay? This is like he keeps on asking me, oh yeah, watch my videos. I'm sorry, Dev. Listen, I love you. I'm not gonna watch your videos. Okay, I think I'm good. All right.
boys tend not to love jokes at the expense
I
of
think I'm
kids,
good,
especially
okay?
when the kids
I'll
are
be
like
sure to
actively
donate when I
still
get
missing
paid.
and might be dead. Like people just tend not to like that. I'm not saying that that's like some morally good thing or something
That's the
that's like defensible in a rational way. This is just like how people feel. And you
Hold
can
on, wait.
base
Just
that
this
on
is
how
why. Wait,
people
real
react
quick.
to
This is
it.
why we're really confused because you keep saying it's not about jokes, but then you keep like centering it on like that particular type of joke. I think the broader
I've
question.
talked way more about your scorched earth stuff than I have about the
No, but I don't think Soy Pill's thing was what about this one joke? It was like, why can everybody on the right make all of these unholy comments constantly and it's seen as an endearing quality? But then on the left, like you keep bringing up this one thing, but it's anything. You can't joke about anything
they're
about the
jokes.
right on the
Yeah.
left.
Their
Finds that
jokes.
endearing?
Their
Who finds
jokes.
that endearing?
Who
Well,
finds
their
what?
audience does. Their own audience. Their target
Yeah,
audience.
they're
It's-
being
Andrew Schultz audience, Joe Rogan audience, Nell
No,
Boy's
I feel like,
audience.
I'm
I
pretty
have
sure
the
I've
answer.
seen major
I have the
Republicans make like rape jokes about the
have the
fucking
answer.
autistic
Yes,
Swedish
yes.
girl. Who's the one?
Insane.
Greta Thunberg or whatever.
Okay, fuck. Okay, yeah, because someone accused me of pre-watching this, but I swear I didn't, okay? I'm pretty sure I bring this up as an example all the fucking time on my stream. I bring up the fact that Greta Thunberg was like constantly sexualized by people like Steven Crowder, right? And this is such a great example, because she definitely didn't deserve that. Fuck, dude, fuck, like that's so crazy to me. Like that, how that's acceptable on the right, but then, like, fuck, it's insane.
Whatever, about like when she
There's
turns
a
18
reason
or whatever.
why I
Like,
work out. That is
I don't
crazy.
understand where all of the hand wringing comes from.
I agree. What I'm saying is that their jokes are funnier than they are offensive to their target audience. If your target audience is going to be moderates don't really like dead kid jokes.
Well, what if the target audience? What if the target audience shouldn't be moderates? Have you ever asked that question? Have you ever asked a question that maybe have you ever asked a question that maybe moderates shouldn't be your fucking audience? Have you ever thought about it that way? Fuck me, dude.
Those people make the jokes. Joe Rogan's make the jokes. Andrew Schultz they're making Holocaust jokes, dead baby jokes, like all.
And
the
everyone
fucking
still found it distasteful within 2 days. I don't know what to tell you. People aren't super rational. I'm not saying don't make edgy jokes.
It's working for them.
No, people are not super rational, dude. Oh my god, dude. Dude, I don't know, dude. Oh my god, dude. Nasser Erdai is being so fucking insufferable in this one, okay? Dude, I'm sorry. Dude, people are not rational, okay? Someone will have a personal experience and they'll let that define the rest of their viewpoints for the rest of their fucking life, okay? Women have been raped. And then they will hate men for the rest of their lives. We've seen this happen time and time again. They'll make ascriptions to men that in which that they don't deserve, right? Just because they got raped at some point in their past, okay? Or fucking like anybody. Like fuck, people are not reasonable people. But people let their fucking personal interactions define themselves all the fucking time. You got abused by parents, in the past. Oh well, congratulations, because guess what? Now you're never for any kind of form of punishment ever, okay? You get abused as a kid, okay, you let that define you, all right, okay, so you're against any kind of form of punishment ever now, right? Fuck, like yeah, people are not reasonable, actually. Fuck me, dude.
Moderates. The moderates
It's
it's working for the moderates.
jokes that are more funny than they are offensive. And unfortunately, the timing of a joke matters. Wait, this is obviously
No,
fucking
first
true.
of all,
I don't
you
even-
said never dead baby jokes, by the way. You said, no, the time doesn't matter. You should never joke about children. But these people are joking about dead kids in the Holocaust, dead kids in Khmer Rouge. Go watch any Joe Rogan with a comedian on. They make edgy fucking jokes all
I
the
should have
time.
never said never say make dead baby jokes. I'm saying in general, the timing of dead kid jokes kind of matters, right? And when dead kids are still actively missing, people don't tend to like it because it's more offensive. That joke has to be so fucking funny to be defensive. And that's how humor works.
How the fuck are these leftists just playing to conservatives? And I expect better of Not So Erudite too, okay? If you hunt around Destiny for this long, and you copy all of fucking Destiny's mannerisms because you're too insecure to develop your own personality, I expect you to at least have based viewpoints, okay? If you're gonna be a little insecure little girl all the time, despite the fact that you're pushing 40 or pushing 50, okay? And constantly trying to be like a fucking debate bro, alright? Maybe, just for once, you can adopt some actual good viewpoints, okay? But you don't. Instead, you act like a fucking retard all the time, okay? So fuck
Works
you.
all the
actually.
time. I know you're getting mad about this.
Moderate comedian that has
this is
been
like a
like,
classic
Before we
case of
move
how-
on this,
I don't know what to tell
Being
you.
a comedian
This
is
is-
different, and
Stop!
also it's different.
Let me get my thoughts out. Stop. Comedians will tell you this all the fucking time. I'm not even making up this rule. This is just how it seems comedy works. If something is going to be offensive and edgy, which most of us like, it needs to be more funny than it is offensive. It has to be to their target
The
audience.
comedian
In the
crowd has
case-
literally fallen into the exact same trap that you have, though, where they talk about how being edgy and all this is so important, and they won't fucking make fun of anybody on the right. They do the exact same thing, where they'll be as edgy as they can. Like, I'm about to tell all my friends a real edgy joke. You know, trannies have fucking girl cock. Oh, and they all laugh. Oh my god, so edgy. Meanwhile,
Bro, they were making fun of a girl who committed suicide. Yeah, they were making fun of a transgender girl who committed suicide. And she was, like, entirely inoffensive. Like, how fucked up is that? Like, she wasn't, like, fucking schizo posting as, like, a lefty fucking transgender degenerate on Twitter. She wasn't doing it. She was, like, it was literally the most inoffensive, like, fucking thing ever. And she was still mocked to death for it, right? Like, fuck.
Joe Rogan, the king
Well,
of
so
comedians,
yeah,
has some
sure.
guy on that does an RFK impression, and after saying 3 words, he's like, "Stop that. That's not okay." So even the same
That's my friend.
folly that they're making, you're like quoting them as though they're giving you some actual good advice here, but they're not. They don't even follow their own advice on that. Because if you had a really funny, edgy joke about Trump, they just get ass pain. They don't like it. They want to hear their own shit
True.
told.
And they're probably going to start getting in trouble. In fact, I'm increasingly seeing lots of moderate comedians who are super critical of Joe Rogan because he's not that funny and he's increasingly getting sensitive. So it's coming for them too.
No, but who cares if that's actually happening? The speed in which that is happening is not outpacing the speed in which immigrants are being deported for jack shit. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, the speed in which there could potentially be some kind of culture change, like is like 10% of a 10%, right? A 1%, right? It's not even close to the speed in which, like, fascism is currently taking root in the United States right now. So I don't even know why she's saying this.
Their own hypocrisy. I agree that that's too soy. We should be able to make fun of RFK Jr. at any time. His voice does sound fucking stupid.
but not dead
Rogan's getting
kids.
heat because he's questioning Donald
yes,
Trump.
yes,
Yeah,
there's a difference
fuck.
between making
Around a
fun of
certain
George
time.
Bush
Yeah,
Jr.
when the kids are
alive
missing.
and a
It's
dead
probably not a
child.
look.
Unless you can preemptively determine it'll be way funnier than it is offensive.
Again,
And you
I don't
always
know what
constantly
tell
have to
you.
be thinking
Okay,
about this
what
rather
the
than
fuck
putting
are
your
we even
energy into
talking
getting
about? Have you never had social interactions where you have to gauge whether or not the joke's going to land well or not? If you haven't done that before, go outside and make some friends. Everyone else understands that, yes, you do a preemptive calculation to figure out whether or not something will land well or not. And unfortunately, in the case of Steven's joke, it landed well with his base and certain liberals who are very angry at the hypocrisy of the right, and it didn't land well with anybody else that he might try to build a relationship with later.
Yes,
And in fact,
but if you're
it is
going to
the
talk about
result
social interactions,
nuking
that's
him from
every
the case.
single offensive joke ever. It lands well with your group, and it doesn't land well with the other group. The only difference is here, we're trying to say, like, oh my God, like, our jokes have to land well with literally everybody, or else we're going to be offended over it. But their jokes are
That's
allowed
not
to
what I'm
land well with their.
saying. I'm saying your jokes, unfortunately, in this instance, have nixed you from interacting with all these people that you should be able to, because you're one of the most effective
Kyla,
communicators
you
on
would
the
be saying
left.
something completely different if they had liked that joke. Was the whole point.
Of course, I've already said it's fucking subjective. Keep the
Wait,
fuck up, Soy Pill.
No, the
Holy
point
shit.
is that, like, you can look
shit.
back and be like, well, that one didn't
Audience.
particularly work very
What?
well.
Destiny
But
wants to do
Yo,
is
she
burn all
crashing
bridges
out.
with Republicans and not be able to talk to them, then he's doing it fine. If all he wants to do is galvanize the left, which she's saying he might want to do, then honestly, I have no
Crashing out.
complaints. If his goal is to talk to the right and to talk to moderates and to pull them to his side, which is what he's good at. By the way, my husband used to be a conservative, is left because of him. Almost like
Anecdote.
5 people every fucking Canvas event came out to me who were conservative before they started listening to you.
You think he started
that
making
is what
edgy
you're good
jokes
at,
2 days
Stephen,
ago?
and I
Because he's
would
been
shut
doing
the
this for
fuck
like
up,
10
Soy Pill.
years. So like,
you
you're just
haven't been
wrong.
tracking. I'm sorry.
Being edgy
He
is the
fucking
problem.
lost.
Aaron
He
Eugenics
lost
is
in
pro-edgy.
He lost his election in 2020. Nobody here is reasonably going to say that Trump won because he's mean and edgy. He probably won despite him being mean and edgy. What I am saying here is that if Stephen wants to target
That's
a
the
moderate
most random thing
audience,
to assert without evidence about the most edgy guy ever.
it's the most random thing to assert as obviously being the case when we have no evidence. What the fuck are we even
He is
talking about
the
right now?
most
Destiny, I
edgy
hear what you're
person.
saying. I
He
hear
is
what
the
you're
most
saying. Wait,
offensive
but hold
president
on.
ever. And we're saying,
But
like,
we
well,
don't
maybe
know
that was
if that-
hurting him.
Wait,
Yes.
isn't it possible
Yes,
that
but
people would
Kyla
like
is
him like
stipulating
8
that there are
times
people
more
who-
if he
there are
wasn't
people
like
who
this?
held their nose. There are people who are held their nose. So you can count the bases of each side. And then there are the people who were movable in the middle. Maybe they all made a terrible mistake in voting for him, but there are people who voted, who held their nose in doing so. That it was